Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga. It's for the titles of WBC, WBA, and WBO. Um, well, I will have to, before in no particular order, I will have to tell you what who will win and how they will win and the tactics they will use and the way they will fight. But before that, we have to be we have to be honest with you. We have to tell you straightforward that this fight is not. It doesn't look like Canelo Alvarez fights. You know, it's not that advertised, and people are no longer interested in Canelo because he's been selecting and choosing the fights he will have and the people he will fight. You know, is however you look at it, Canelo is not the governing body. He doesn't fight his mandatories, and then he selects fights from wherever, young fighters that do not have equal experience with him, and he selects them to have a fight with them. And for that reason, a lot of people are not interested in his fights. The only people who are more interested in Canelo fights are Canelo fans, just Canelo fans. It's not the boxing fans, you know, because people are looking at it now and they say, is it bigger than the governing body? You know, the IBF will praise them, they'll be tough enough to come and take off. He doesn't fight his mandatory, and they strip him of that IBF title, which I believe is a good thing to do, to remind him that you are not the one in charge, you're a fighter. People mostly pay money to come and see you. You do not have to call, even though you are the one of the face of boxing for, not for all quarters anyway, because what has happened to him is his legacy is been tinted with all this docking. For example, we have to put him in a range with well, in a minute I will remember and I'll tell you. Riddick Boer. Boer refused to fight Lennox Lewis for the WBC title and threw it into the bin in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the 90s, early 90s. And because people had expected him to come there and announce the fight, you know. But he did not do that. He said instead of fighting Lewis, who was beating him in the Olympics in 1988. And since he couldn't fight, you want to fight him, he chose the title out and the bid. You know, most people, anytime you mention the name of Canelo, what comes to my mind and to every other boxing fan mind is his fight with David Benavidez. Benavidez was a mandatory for over 3 years, almost over 3 years, you know, and the Canelo refused to give him a chance. Now Crawford is been undisputed and he wants to come up and fight him, and the Canelo is mentioning amounts that are unreasonable, you know. So all these things have contributed to the fame and the legacy of Canelo, and it's going to affect him after his fighting career. He's going to come with that tintedness of it. That's why we mentioned Riddick Boer, we know he's a super fighter, very good fighter. I think only one loss in his resume, CV. But what he did against Lewis for not giving him that chance to fight for the undisputed titleship has shown the kind of person he is. And it's affected his legacy all through till today. Once he comes out, the big papa, the big boy, he's a big guy, 6'5", heavy guy, who saw his 3 fights with Holyfield. We saw what happened the first one, and the second one Holyfield won, and the third one he knocked Holyfield out for the first time in his career. You know, so he's a very powerful fighter. But his legacy is tinted in a way because of the lack of fighting. Is mandatory. Who is Lewis? You know, if Benavidez, who is a WBC mandatory, if they had stripped him of the fight of that belt and given it to Benavidez, he would have, you know, kind of cushioned his attitude towards the governing bodies. Because what he does now, what he does at the moment is that I own this body, I can do whatever I like, you know, nothing's going to stop me from doing whatever I like. I do not like boxers to call the shots like that. And not only me personally, but other people who watch boxing. I'm not talking about the core fans now. I'm talking about every other person that watches boxing. Because that fight is a mega fight that we want to see. It's going to attract so many views. It's going to do everything in boxing. But you know, Canelo never made it happen. Even the Crawford one is skeptical about it happening. Today he will tell you one thing, and tomorrow he will tell you another thing. That is not the way, because this boxing is a sport. It makes a lot of money. For Canelo to beat who he is today, is for the people who had opened the doors for him to fight them, even when he was young. At 23, he was fighting Mayweather, fighting Cotto, Sugar Shane Mosley. These are made boxers, but they gave him the chance. So why do you not reciprocate, in a way that you give chances to young boxers coming up when they are mandatory to your belt? He fought everybody, even when he was young. He was younger than them. Mayweather taught him a lesson. The other day, Bivol accepted his challenge and fought Bivol. Kovalev is beaten as a light heavyweight before, stopped him. But Bivol taught him a boxing lesson, because boxing is not all brand and no brain. It's all brain and brand as well. So it's a very, very delicate thing. And when you're into it, you have to be very careful. The popularity and the money, financial stability brings to you and your family, you have to thank God for that. To be honest, sorry. So Canelo is, as I said, is diminishing in a way. And but I believe that if Canelo wins Edgar Berlanga with a knockout punch, knock him out, because he's not been able to finish fighters. Look at Ryder, look at his fought Ryder, he fought Mongua, and he fought Charlo, who was coming from light middleweight. He couldn't knock them out. He knocked them down, but he couldn't finish the fight. I think that is a concern for Canelo. And one other problem Canelo has is his hand. The operation is done on his hand. He's correcting something on his hand, has not healed up. And that is the problem he's having. So his punches, he hasn't got that spike, he hasn't got that sting that he does have. That devastating venom that he has, he doesn't have it again. But Canelo is a fighter that can adjust, can face adversity and adjust. We saw him against Golovkin in their first fight and their second fight. We saw him what he did there. We also saw him against Plant, against all the fighters that he fought. Canelo is a good fighter, but I think he's been reluctant to fight the major guys because he has an injury that is not being healed well, or the correction on what they did, they didn't do it well, or something like that. So it actually diminishes his confidence, because once a boxer loses his confidence, there's nothing for him anymore. His confidence is down at the moment, especially knocking people out and finishing a fight. Canelo cannot finish a fight, but if he does finish the fight against Berlanga and knock him out, I will see the fight against Benavidez and the Crawford come up sooner than later. We'll have to stop here today because we have other things that we want to say. But in the coming weeks, we'll talk about all the fights coming up. We'll talk about Bivol and Betabiev. We'll talk about Tyson Fury and Usyk too. That is what we'll have from you from next week. Maybe from tomorrow, from next tomorrow, we'll be on the way to tell you what is going to happen and what we believe will happen in those fights. Do have a nice day and God bless. And also do subscribe. Do have a nice day and subscribe. And make comments as well. Like. Thank you and have a nice day.